When it comes down to swindling, who is the most easy target to swindle? Who? I'll tell you who is. The individual that's the least interested in those around them, they are the most vulnerable to be swindled. In this world, being apathetic or being without interest is seen as something powerful. There are even memes out there that say things like, the one that cares the least in a relationship has the most power. Why? Because worldly people are obsessed with control. So being emotionally unavailable is seen as a type of power. And the narcissists and predators also see that as a type of power, not being emotionally interested. But let me tell you one thing here. So I'm addressing believers here. The more narcissistic an individual is, the more antisocial someone is, the more uninterested someone is in daily life, the easier it is to scam such an individual. For one simple reason: to be antisocial, or to be without interest in anyone else, or to be in a state of, to be in a state where you always want to be left alone. To be like that implies that you need to fight off reality, because you're not designed to be that way. Anytime you persist in something you're not designed to do, you will accumulate a weight. And this weight will weight you down, and this weight will kill you over time. So people that are not interested, people that want to be left alone, or people that are antisocial, or they are narcissists, people who don't act as the fruitful social creatures God designed them to be, eventually they'll have this weight that they need to deal with. Now, how most of them deal with that weight is by dumping that weight on someone else. But this can be risky and dangerous, because if you dump on the wrong person, you may have a psycho that wants to take vengeance on you. Or if you dump on someone who has a strong social backup, now you need to face a whole angry community against you. Or if you dump on someone, and by doing this, you ignore some of the laws of the country, you may end up in jail. So people that are not operating as the fruitful social creatures God intended us to be, they will eventually be stuck. And when they are stuck, they want to pretend as if they are free. To hold on to this hoax of them being free while they're not implies that they need to have someone to put in a negative daylight. And this is not sustainable. And that is why they're so easily scammed. You know why? Because they're operating in a scam already. Namely, that they can be anything else successfully that's not part of God's plan. That's not possible. You cannot become anything for the long run that's not part of God's design for you. That's not going to happen. A fish will be prosperous as a fish in the seas, or in the rivers, or in the oceans. A fish will not be prosperous in the air. Absolutely not. A fish can't even reach the air. Some fish jump out of the ocean and they fall back in it, but that's all they can do. An eagle cannot be prosperous on the bottom of the North Sea or of the Indian Ocean. No, an eagle is prosperous in the sky. You cannot become anything, especially not for the long run, that God did not put in your design. And that is something that people without any interest, people that want to be left alone, that is what they want to do. And that can never work out. So what happens now is that when they are frustrated and they need to dump this frustration on someone else, and they know that they can't get away with it, now they're desperate for a way out. They're desperate to make their expectations work, because they absolutely don't want to face their own expectations. In that state of mind, evil spirits will bring people to them that will swindle them. For example, it can be, let's say you are the target of psychic violence. People can't stand you. But you are the type of individual, you make plain onto the community, I exist too. So you have obligations and responsibilities to me too. And you should remind people of that. So there are people that calm down and realize you're telling the truth, but some people are offended. They think when people don't like you have to find a way to deal with it. People have their reasons. Don't challenge their reasons. They know they're wrong, but they are very angered because you challenge people's BS. And you don't submit to people's anger and people's narcissistic tendencies. So now they're so upset with you, but they can't accuse you of anything because they'll make themselves look bad. Then one day, they encounter someone who listens to their complaints about you, and this individual agrees with them. But the only reason this individual agrees with them is because this individual wants to use them as a cover. Because this individual that agrees with them is a scam artist that's robbing people's bank accounts. So now this scam artist found a group of people who are using you as a scapegoat, and that scam artist agreed with their scapegoating just to win their trust. And once the scam artist won their trust, the scam artist used them as a cover for his scamming. So it went so far that they even borrowed their bank accounts to this guy. And the guy used it to traffic all the money he stole from people. So when the police came to them. And then you may ask, how could these people be so, how could they be so ignorant? Not ignorant is not the right word. How could they be so dumb that they would allow this to happen? Here's why. They were so upset with you because they don't want to face themselves. So really, them being upset with you had nothing to do with you. It had to do with them. But they didn't want to comply with solutions. So someone came and validated their escapism. And once their escapism was validated, they felt so at home that they dropped all the weight because they are burdened by their own expectations. So once someone validated expectations, they dropped the whole weight, and during this dropping of that weight, they became extra vulnerable emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, and it's then that the scam artist scammed them and robbed them. The more uninterested you are, or better said, the more inflexible you are, the more you refuse to be flexible as Christ intended you to be, the easier it is for you to be scammed. I said inflexible, probably it's unflexible, but anyway, you get what I'm saying. Be flexible and fertile as a social creature. That is what Christ intended for you. The moment you want to be static with boundaries and with respect and with privacy and all of that, the more you do that, the faker you'll become, and the faker you are, the more easier demons have access to you, and the more easier it is for you to be swindled out of your life savings, out of your money, out of your future, and even out of your life. So that stern, proud attitude that worldly people are praising, it makes it easier for you to be scammed. If you want to make it hard for you to be scammed, be flexible, be practical, be fertile in your daily life. Agree with Christ.